Hello and welcome back to part 2 of Roadwarden. Let us continue this game. We didn't get very far in the beginning. At most, we just got used to some of the social interactions and things. So let us continue. Even at a later hour, you wouldn't expect to meet any travelers in the valley. The warm summer breeze lures your mount forward, but the serene chirping of birds is quickly replaced by the distracting screeches and gurgles coming from further down the path. You soon find the pack of four-legged griffins. Ooh. They're larger than foxes, and merge the features of birds and furred beasts. Each one is of a different size, coat, and colors, and their temperaments are just as varied. Their fronts are covered with vivid feathers, while their rears have darker fur. Their wings are massive, making them impressive jumpers, but they're too heavy to fly. What? How are they griffins if they can't fly? About 24 beasts are yelling, oh my god, brawling and chasing each other around, blocking your path. I consider my options carefully. The dice icon marks the actions that involve a random chance. You can't enter the forest blindly. If these or other creatures were to chase you, the thicket would be disastrous for your horse. There are reasons why travelers stay as close to the main roads as possible, and why adventurers move in groups. Usually the safest approach would be to stay where you are and just wait for the pack to get hungry. It may, however, take up to a couple of hours. You're thinking about your conversation with Tulia. You've got a lot to do and time may be of the essence. If you have any vital points, you can use the warrior's training to access unique interactions. Vital points. Vitality points. I don't think hitting them would be a good idea, to be honest with you. We're gonna take a chance and just make a break for it. You can learn more about your abilities in the character sheet. Oh, I lost health. Initially, your horse completely trusts your guidance, though after a few more steps it snorts. You prepare your axe and get ready to push away any griffin willing to jump on you. Once you get in the middle of the surprised herd, your mount squeals and gallops forward. The creatures in front of you flee, but others try to jump at you from both sides. You kick 2 of them away, but the third one scratches your leg. It hurts, though only a bit. You ride away, and the griffins can't keep up. You still hear their screeches when your mount slows down. Once I get to a safer spot, I stop to clean and bandage my wound. Reached the first crossroads. The road splits. According to what the soldiers have told you, you may find a safe inn by turning left. The forest to the right is lush, and the trail overgrown. Kids used to have this song. How did it go? The harshest pathway leads to the dragon's lair. Those who search for treasure, do you truly dare? The signpost in front of you doesn't make your situation much clearer. It was put here by someone who can't write, for folks who can't read. Well then. Covered in old red paint, it points east. Blood there, as people say, danger to be found. There's not a soul to ask for guidance. Hey, look at my horse. What's its name? I don't know. Call it Starbucks. Yep, totally. Starbucks the horse. Starbucks is peaceful as you stroke its mane. Maybe it can't help you choose a path, but you've spent many years together. Happy to go on, it takes a couple of years, a couple of steps forward. You spot a few berry bushes and wild cabbages, but they still need at least 2 weeks to gain maturity. Time to make a turn. Left or right? So, explore west. A point connecting the deep forests of the western lands. Let's go west. Starbucks trots with ease, unbothered by the few branches covering the beaten road. The bird songs and distant howls draw your attention to the forest, which gets sparser and brighter. You spot boars, roe deer, and saurians. The sight of a nearby wolf pack worries you, but once you push your hips forward and your palfrey enters a canter, the beasts don't even begin a pursuit. The speed alone will protect you from many dangers. You notice a stone tower taller than the trees. It must be the inn I've heard about. You really think an inn is going to be a stone tower, though? That begs a lot of questions. Inns like this one fit the regions traveled by merchants, but you wouldn't expect a place of this size in a forsaken peninsula. The stone and lumber must have been transported from far away, and the workers, guarded by expensive mercenaries, surely lived for many seasons in a primitive hamlet, subsisting on salted supplies. There are seemingly no cracks in the wall, and the building was whitewashed only a few years back. The road is wide and beaten. Dozens of souls could hide, if not in the walls, then at least in the yard. The expenses and labor put into this fortress were worth many trading ships. Yeah, lots of money goes into this. 3 armed people are on the ramparts, though you only see what's above their waistline. They're leaning on the parapet, right next to the gate, and you think you notice a glimpse of a smile. They wear gamesons, each one of them dyed differently. Yellow, green, and linen gray. I approach the gate. A woman in yellow armor leans forward. She has long, curly, disorderly red hair pointing in every possible direction. This combination of colors doesn't work at all. In the woods, one would have to shout to draw this much attention. There's still a fair distance between the two of you, but she speaks loudly. I hain't seen a horse for years now. I just said that it's weird to see such a large jackass, huh? Her voice is young and strong, with an accent that reminds you of the villagers spread around Hovleven. A mix between Irish and, what's the word? Redneck? I don't know. Country folk. But no jackass would wear a saddle, I'd say. She exchanges a few words with a male guard wearing green, giving you time to move closer. Well, this one here sure says there's really are donkey saddles. Say, traveler, how hard is it to ride a horse? Playful. Use a joke or a witty comment, sure. You wouldn't believe it, the lessons were a pain. You get off your horse and imitate this silly walk from the day that you followed your first long journey, when your whole shell was crying. You illustrate the pain as you move your hand from your back to your hips, then thighs. In return, the guards tell you about that time when they had to carry their friend with bitten-off legs for 3 days straight, through the heart of the woods. Meanwhile, the other guards open the gate. You may be in a good mood. You may be in a good mood, the woman in the yellow jacket smiles at you, but don't get so noisy when you talk to our boss. The man never smiles, he has the world's suffering sculpted on his face. She leads you under the roof under which your palfrey can rest, tethered with a cord to a wooden post, near some old hay. Once you're ready, go inside. Speak with our boss, maybe you're hungry. The other guards take care of the various chores. They peek at your mount every now and then as they're splitting firewood, cleaning their clothes, weeding the garden patches, and moving chairs. 2 of them are making a rope. You head toward the inn, hearing the piercing scream of a boar from the other side of the yard. If you are at an inn in the morning, you can spend the entire day on resting. Yes, please. Oh, it's such a nice-looking inn, too. I like it. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove heartily lightens up the hall. A muscular man is sweeping up the floors near the stairs, but after he glances at you, he leans the broom against the wall and heads behind the counter. You're lucky to show up, his voice is deep and soft, with a city-like accent. He observes you with keen attention, yet avoids your eyes. I have a keg of decent ale. Wormwood, bog brittle, juniper berries. Oh yeah, juniper berries. Skyrim, I see. Okay. Cat's foot. He fills them up carefully and puts it on the countertop. It's going to spoil soon, today maybe, and we don't drink here before the evening. I hate to see the good stuff going to waste. His skin is dark, almost purple, rare even among the southern tribes, and his hair is naturally bluish. Now that's an interesting combination. His clothes are quite fancy for manual labor. The elegant tunic wouldn't stand out in the city square. I stand at the counter. The planks let out a creak after every step you make, so you slow down a bit. You could swear that the innkeeper made little to no noise. Here you go, he pushes the mug forward. But just so you know, my belt of the north doesn't belong to Hovlaven. You can sleep on the floor if you wish so, but if you want a bed or a meal, you have to pay. We may have some leftovers from dinner, but I'd need to check. Thanks for the drink. I see you know how to make friends with the Roadwarden. He meets your eyes with a puzzled look, then grabs a wet cloth and starts to wipe down the shelves. From time to time, your conversation is interrupted by splashes of dirty water in a wooden bucket. Well, nothing is truly free. I have worked for a soul of the road, but I don't need a new mouth to babble. He speaks slowly, audibly. I value my time. You should value yours. I don't necessarily want to ignore the ale. I want to drink and ask questions. The dark room and wooden walls of the mug make the liquid look as brown as a chestnut. The lee in summer, The lee in spring hits your nose, and the first sip is even too complex, too flowery. While the brewer has used fancy ingredients, the exotic licorice ruins the aftertaste. I think it's licorice. I don't know. Now you know why there's so much left. Maybe it takes an acquired taste. The innkeeper nods. I was hoping to see someone willing to patrol the roads. Maybe you'll help me with a worrying thought I have. Which is... There are brigands in the woods. Our place is a stronghold, so I'm not afraid of an open strike, but they've gotten much active in the last 2 years. One day they may steal our furs, and I've no doubt they're the reason why merchants come here only once. Having bandits around gets expensive. He rubs his hands together, camouflaging his paws. I want you to reach Hallour's Dell, northwest from here. It's the largest settlement around. I'm sure you'll get there sooner or later. Ask Thias, the mayor, about Glossia? Sure, that bloodthirsty wolf of a woman. I've heard rumors about a raid in the north. If Glossia's ready to break the truce with the locals, I'm willing to join forces with them to get rid of their band. He looks at a nearby dragon bone. Not too difficult, right? Just do it when you have the chance. A couple of days won't make much of a difference. I'll pay you 2 coins when you get back with the news. Fine? Don't want to be too greedy, that's for sure, though. But I don't think I want to agree to his price. He observed her for a moment. 2, he growls. I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? Tell me about Asturian, please. I'll do now. He goes to the table and invites you to sit down with him. I don't think I'm going to be of much help. He rests his elbow on the tabletop and grunts quietly to clear his throat. But I do want you to find him, so... When asked about his intentions, he measures his words. Asturian and I made a risky deal. Well, a very promising one. Last time he was here, he took 50 coins. My half of the investment. He knocks on the table. He knocks on the table with a fist anxiously. If you get my coin, or at least find what happened to the guy, I'll make sure you won't be disappointed after bringing me the news. It could be that Asturian stole the coins and ran away. He looks out a window and starts to play with the shutter. I just think Asturian ain't that kind of soul that would do such a thing. For him, it wasn't much of a fortune, and I'd risk saying he had earned my trust. Not only mine, you know. It's easy for a Roadwarden to make connections. He always had places to go, things to take care of. He rubs the table with his thumb as if trying to clean an invisible stain. I've asked travelers. I've sent a couple of my pals to find him. No real news. I know he stayed in White Marshes for a day and was meant to do something for the people there. It's a village in the northwest. Just stay on the main road until you reach the bogs, then enter them. You may get there before dusk. So let me know once you find anything, and we may yet return to this whole investment thing. didn't expect to find an inn like this. Ah, so you know a thing or two after all. His mocking tone is soon replaced by a gentle smile. It was built long before we arrived. It didn't work out well for the previous owners. Once the war ended, they left. Not enough travelers. Bad trade. The villagers stuck to themselves. We, however, came prepared, and now we're prospering. When you ask him about how they can afford all the supplies, he runs his fingers through his dark hair. I'm not against running an inn, but we don't rely on guests. We're the ones doing all the trading. My hunters are a clever bunch, and they stay safe in the forest. In exchange for furs, claws, and bones, we get what we need and more, both from the south and the north. He relaxes in his chair. We have a good life here. We spent a whole lot on armor, crossbows, lumber, spears, but in another 10, maybe 20 years, we'll have enough savings to move to Havlaven and not work for another day of our lives. We take risks, but smartly. The team is stronger than ever, and I have big plans for us. It's surprising to find a purple-skinned man so far in the north. Let's get racist. I ain't seen a soul looking like this since my ma died, he shrugs. It's not a fascinating tale, let's just say I wasn't part of the invasion, yet I'm glad I freed all those who were chained by the cities and the corsairs. He looks at the wall. I'm a Layson. Layson? By the way, but I rarely hear the name. Is there a good story behind the name? I mean, there is a story, but not a good one. He clears his throat. For years I wanted to have an inn called Peld, but in my city it would be in bad taste. Taverns and inns named with a single word were cheap and had a nasty reputation. There was The Claw and Mugger, Basilisk, and Blissful, I think. The good places used at least 2 words. Empty barrel, a rose and a helmet, Empress smile. Pighead was the exception. It was a real dive, he chuckles. In my soul, it's still just a pelt. Pelts are what we came here for and what will make us reach our goals. I mean, it will make you rich. I don't know. I return to my other questions. What do you have for sale? I can go and pick up a few things for you. Some food for your travels to start with. Apples, nuts, sausage. Not too many at once. We need to maintain our supplies. I've got an elk fur I don't need. Its buyer was caught by a pack of red wolves. Nice for a sleeping spot, just as nice for a wall. An almost untouchable bowl of soap, priceless for a traveler. You can't tell if he's being sarcastic. Made of fine oak ash, strong, though you should have some better supplies before you start your own bathhouse. After you mention you'd like something more useful on these roads, he looks down. I don't have any blades or armor to spare, but if you pay well, you can take one of our crossbows and a bunch of quarrels. And... losing my voice. A yew-bow. Wool cords and the trigger needs just a little bit of oil. It's as good as you can get without soaking it in magic. Takes a bit of muscle to draw, but even a 16-year-old could handle it. I won't sell it cheap, but I'm ready to give a discount to a helpful ally. So I've got 10 gold, 1 food supply. Okay, we'll call that good. What can you tell me about the peninsula? What could anyone say? This place doesn't even have a name unless there's an old book in an archive that no soul knows about. You know what I'd call everything from here to the coast? The hunting ground. He glances at your eyes. But it's not us who hunt. Keep that in heart. But the beasts in all shapes and forms. His words gain confidence slowly, which is strengthened by his deep voice. I've lived in this inn for over 10 years now, and I've only seen a couple of roads, a couple of places. It's just, once you get here and you see how harsh it is to hit the road, you have only more reasons to stay at the warm stove behind a wall, even if it's suffocating. He looks towards the windows. I'm sure you've heard a lot already, that the people don't build hamlets anymore. There are no more ibexes from the south, and the traders stay for only a few days. All of our iron is used for cauldrons, not swords or tools. What is west? Well, there are healers nearby. Then you'll find a village, maybe an hour away from here. It was destroyed by beasts almost a decade ago. Nothing to see there. The goblins live there now, so most people just travel around it, and they say it's haunted, but who knows, who cares? He crosses his arms and starts to sway back and forth, gathering his thoughts. You'll get to a large tree on the edge of the swamp. For the locals, it's sacred. You're not used to hearing someone mentioning pagans as if there's nothing unusual about them. There's a small path south, which leads to an old mine in the mountains. Nothing to find there. But keep riding north and you'll find Howler's Dell, set at a clean brook. Farmers live there, and wolf-huns and druids. They'll let you stay for a night, but they're not cheap. If anyone thinks my prices are bad, it means they ain't been to the Ape Ale Inn yet. He lets out a gentle smile. I nod. I only know a bit about the next settlement, Old Pagos. Pagos? I don't know. The soil there ain't too fertile, so they work in their quarry and help their settlements build things in exchange for crops. The forests and hills aren't too harsh, but the Seekers have a small monastery nearby in the mountains. I don't care much about them. They keep to themselves and they don't pay well. The third village is unknown to me. White Marshes, set at the bogs. I've heard it smells like a griffin's lair. I've heard a lot of nasty rumors about the place, but I won't share them. I don't want to be a lie spreader. So 3 villages, really. Howlers, the one near the monastery, whatever it's called, and Marshes. Don't let their beds and palisades fool you, though. Weird people live there. Don't tell them more than you need to. You wonder if it's something he would tell other travelers as well. Are the eastern roads rough? Pretty much. Don't leave the main road, I'd say. Not so far from here you'll find an old dolmen. A few of my people had to spend a night there. A monkey stole food and gads from their bags. It was their fault. One of them had fallen asleep in the middle of his watch, but you know, the eastern forests are wild. The roads are rough. Almost no soul lives there. One day, all these roads will be swallowed by the trees again. The furthest my team has ever gone was the home of the enchantress. Just stay on track until you reach the crossroads, right near an abandoned watchtower. From there, turn east. You'll recognize the place. It's a nice home in a lonely meadow, surrounded by a wall. He looks toward the closed window, then at you again. Kind of like our walls, but simpler, without coating. She lives as a hermit. Eudocia? I don't know. I don't even know how she survives there, but if you don't have decent coin, you won't find much there. So back to the crossroads. If you turn left instead, you'll see a road. People stay away from it. It connects the tower and the monastery. A shortcut between the 2 sides of the peninsula. I was warned by the locals not to use it. It already belongs to the beasts. Have you been to the northern coast? I only know about another inn. It's far from here, maybe a day on foot. A bit less from the eastern side. His eyes once again focus on the floor. I've never been there, but I've heard it's a safe place. Close to villages of fishers and hunters, though I don't know much about them. Alright, tell me about Glossia's band. He freezes, observing your hands silently. He wants me to get the answer from the Mirror of Hallerston. Okay. Any rumors worth sharing? I don't like to talk about people who ain't nearby. Show me first that you're someone worth changing habit for. Okay. I could eat something. Do you have any leftovers? Yes, I feed them to our boar. I won't give them away for nothing. He tells you to wait, then leaves the building for a few minutes and returns with a wooden bucket and a long stick ending with a hook. Go through the gate and turn left. You'll see a bunch of bushes. We need some berries. Bring me a bucket full. You'll be done in half an hour or so. Your horse could use a nap anyway, and I'll prepare something for you. The hook is not made of metal or wood. It's a long curved claw, almost black. That's quite a lot. The tools are cold, not too heavy. You notice a pair of thick gloves at the bottom of the bucket. Ah, the berries are not the problem, the innkeeper smirks. Unlike the snakes, better scare them away with a stick or move them with a hook. And protect your hands. The little ones won't eat you, but don't get bitten. I'm sure you know how to be patient. You step outside, Starbucks pawing the ground. I already regret naming it Starbucks. You hear the sounds of work coming from the armorer's workshop. go to the well. The recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink you drew with a bucket and tells you to use only as much water as is necessary. The oak ash soap you own can help you get cleaner. You need 3 pieces of bathing equipment to get more out of this place. Wash my shell. Splashing yourself with cold water from a bucket won't take away your smell, but it's enough to remove the tallow and sweat from your skin, or mud stains from your clothes. Approach the guards. The woman in yellow armor is kneeling next to a brown hairy boar, which is resting on its side. The beast is not as large as the dark ones from the forest. It responds to the touch of the human's hand and brush with grateful grunting and rapid twitches of a hind foot. No matter how friendly it appears, it's still tethered to the well, and you have no doubts that its charge would leave Starbucks dead in a breath. When the woman notices you, she steps forward to the boar's disappointment. "So, the new warden." She points at a window with her chin, forestalling the question. Sorry, confused. "We don't need anything now, but when we travel with our furs, we can use some assistance." She may be around 30, but her warm voice and bright smile are camouflaging the touch of time on her unpowdered face. Like many red-haired people with freckles, her skin is unhealthily pale. The boar runs up to her, observing your boots, and fruitlessly sniffing for food beneath the beaten ground. She pats its back, but maintains her focus. "How about a game or two? We have a bit of time and can talk a bit about this and that. Maybe you'll get a couple of coins. Or lose one." She winks. "We could play dice or throw axes at a target." I don't gamble. But I should gamble because that's the setting that we're in. I would really like to go do a thing. Show me what you got. Your arrival, and especially the dragon bone you pull out, are cheerfully welcomed. The guards prepare a couple of wooden planks which are leaned against the wall. There are also spectators, and you're told that the other hunters are either sleeping or have duty on the tower. Remember, no magic, says one of the players. His face is deadly serious. There's going to be 4 participants and 8 rounds. You aim— oh my gosh, this is a huge deal! You aim at the target drawn from charcoal. The person whose axe lands the closest to the center of the circle gets a point. Axes that fail to stay in the plank don't count. The person who has the most points at the end of the last turn becomes the winner. You talk a lot, but also don't say much. You share casual jokes, memories, and views on luck and optimal strategies. Starbucks and Tulia's camp are also brought up, but when you ask about the roads or the locals, their stories are vague. The drinks are here. It's a poor beer made from the leftovers after the regular brewing. It's cold, sweet, and doesn't reach your head, but you try to avoid the smell. "Just don't spill anything, the boar may get sick," says the opponent with one arm. As a guest, you start with a first throw. Your axe flies well, hitting the very middle of the painted target and piercing the plank with a pleasant thud, which makes it really difficult for the other players to outperform you. A moment later, you've won the first round, but you can't expect to be that lucky every time. "Do my best." "Oh, I lost a gold." You finish with only 1 point. You cast a dragon bone at a massive woman who stops her winning dance only briefly, surrounded by the rhythmic clapping of her crew. You're approached by the guard in yellow armor and her wholehearted laughter. "We already played today." Have you ever been at the heart of the woods? We sometimes hunt south from here. There are good— it's probably the one girl. "We sometimes hunt south from here. There are good hunting grounds in the western half. The second one is too overgrown. Maybe the soil is different?" She shrugs, then moves the hair away from her forehead. "But it's a risky spot. There are treants there and wolves, even the furless ones. And if you have to go through the tall grasses, watch out for what's on the ground. There ain't many archers in the trees." She smiles as if it's a joke, but there are all too many worms, even larger than a water leech. Questions about this place? "Not much to tell, honestly. There are many beasts around, both wild game and dangerous monsters. We spend our time surrounded by these walls, leaving only to hunt, forage, or trade." That's an unusual tower. I'd expect it to be closer to the gate and shorter. Like in Hovlaven? Fair, but it ain't here to protect the gate. This stronghold was built long before we moved in, and not to fight off humans. The tower is meant to be used by those who observe the deep forest. We look out for fires, dragons, and any winged creatures that are looking to roost on the roof. Baldy, she nods toward a man who indeed is completely bald, has a great eye and sees well even in the darkness. Your group seems really attached to this boar. He doesn't seem like it doesn't seem like only used for food. How could you not be? She crouches and raises the boar's head, but it steps away and squeals as if someone's murdering it. It came with us from the city just in case. We had no clue how our first winter would go, so we needed some backup meat, and it works too. Cleans the dirt. She reaches out to the beast again, but it trots away. The woman straightens up with a pleased sigh. We haven't needed to eat it so far, but it's also funny. I learned in my home village that the farm boars are getting a bit smaller and more cuddly, kind of like ibexes, but it's not such a wild, dangerous beast. But we don't let it get close to other animals, or children. Any interesting creatures nearby? Ha! Where? Everything lives here. She flips her hair. I swear we saw a few dragons, a unicorn family, a battle between trolls and goblins, faced 2 beastmen, and a gargoyle, and a hunting queen shouts all the time. I could tell you all about them, but I won't. She winks and pats the boar on the head. You know, hunters have their secrets. What do you usually hunt? Anything we can eat or sell. If there's a partridge, a squirrel, or a rat, we don't complain, but when we move as a group, we look for something larger. Deers and aurochs are delicious, but we don't always look for taste alone. Aurochs are cool and they would fuck you up. There's a value in bones, antlers, claws, tusks. Anything people use to make tools or sculptures, we use some of them to make tools and spears. You can never have enough spears. She pauses and looks at a strand of her hair, then suddenly speaks again. And we look for furs, of course. What can I find north from here? I'm sorry, we don't really go to those regions. We stay close to home, only sometimes move south or west to Haller's Dell, but only to trade. They're fine with buying more than they need, since they then take wares to the coast. She takes a long breath, twirling her hair and gathering her thoughts. You know what? I've never even seen a beach, and I've been living here for how many more than 10 years now? She giggles. The only part of the sea I've seen was from Old Pagos, which is placed on a hill. I've never put a toe in salt water. She looks toward another huntress who confirms that her experience is the same. But Old Pagos is a good place. As long as you don't mock their order and act nice, they'll always be kind. Boss says they're too serious for him to stand them, but at least they don't bite without a reason. What about necromancers? It's something new, her voice lowers to a whisper. I've never been to White Marshes, but over the years we've seen people moving away from their south. They told us that the place has changed too much. A priest died, I think, and the new one awakens the dead. Sorry, Roadwarden, that's all I know. If she's hiding something, she sounds convincing. She observes you with a hand casually resting on her hip. Tell me about yourself. Oh, what was that? After a brief giggle, her voice gets cold and serious. Nah, Roadwarden, we use names and stories among friends. You ain't one. Don't make me tempt curses. Okay, sounds fine. Tell me about wild animals. Well, I told you knowledge is valuable. I don't know. She looks at the boar, which seems to be obsessed with a clump of grass growing next to the wall. 15 dragons, no less. Is there any discount for friends? Never mind. We're not close yet. Playing some axe throwing with her was not enough to warm her up. The innkeeper has asked me to forage for berries. She chuckles. Oh, don't worry about that. Usually we forage by ourselves, but he wouldn't ask you for a dragon for a meal. He gives small jobs to people all the time just to see who agrees to do them, wants to judge who's of use and who's too proud for their own good. If you've agreed, just be sure to get those berries ready today and don't try to take his tools away. He hates thieves. Sounds good. So, I've done everything except go to the armorer. 12 hours and 30 minutes before dusk. I think I should go get those berries now. The innkeeper knew what he was talking about. You put on the gloves and look through the bushes from a safe distance. It doesn't take long before you notice the first serpent lying on a rock somewhere in the thicket. The creatures are not that large, and even if some of them hiss at you or slither closer, the jabs of the hook keep them at a distance. You don't know much about these berries. They're round and reddish. You wouldn't trust such a color even if you were looking for food in the wilderness. The plants don't have thorns, but the leaves are harsh, so you make sure to thoroughly cover your skin with your clothes. You have to look through many bushes to fill the bucket, but the presence of insects and snakes doesn't allow you to relax. I gather the berries carefully and go to the inn. You've returned to the courtyard. 2 of the guards are participating in a friendly skirmish. Their wrestling is accompanied by a crowd. I enter the inn. The locked windows make the air stuffy, and the weak fire in the stove hardly lightens up the hall. The innkeeper is sitting at the stove, cleaning a set of metal tools and ladles. So, you again. Need anything? I put his fruits on the counter. Great. He peeks inside the bucket. I've got cabbage stew with a few goose chunks for you. I've served it even to I'd serve it even to merchants if there were any around. The meal is warm and filling. It's well seasoned and not overcooked. And like I've said, I rarely have good food to spare, but feel free to ask if you ever stop by. You may be lucky, and I've been cooking my whole life. Thanks. And how did that old hook of mine work out for you? I see you still have your hands. I'm fine. Should I try to buy the hook? Could I buy it? He narrows his eyes. Can't you make one yourself? It's the claw. Ah, I see. It's a nice one, ain't it? My guards once had to get rid of a pebbler. You can't really eat them, but their claws and bones are durable enough, so we put them to good use. For a moment, he observes your face. A single coin would be fair. Okay, take the coin, please. He takes it with a nod. Need anything else? I think that's all I need. You step outside. Starbucks is pawing the ground. I want to go check out the armor real fast. You walk past the well and find a small open shed. Not unlike the stable, but with a humble set of tables, carving tools, hammers, sharpening stones, pincers, knives, and other tools. As long as something can be solved by brute force, this place will find a way to do so. There are 2 people sitting on a long bench. The first one is a male with a maybe inch-long hair, a cleanly shaven face, a thin, long yellow tunic, bare legs, and sandals. He ignores your presence, sewing a gambeson with great concentration. The second person is a boy, maybe 15, who's wearing the crude outfit of a farmer. He glances at you, but soon returns to sharpening a long dagger. Hello. The man raises his head, but it's the boy who speaks, focused on his task. He ain't talking, tell him what it is you need. The man smiles in confirmation, looks at the piece of garment in his hands, then looks around, shrugs, and returns to you with a raised eyebrow. I want to look at your wares, if possible. He nods, points at the laces in front of your jacket, raises his clenched fingers to his shoulders, then gently spreads and lowers them as if he's taking off a robe. You follow his command and allow him to properly inspect your gambeson. After a few minutes, he gives it back, then reaches for his pouch. He pulls out one dragon bone, shrugs, then another one, and waves both of them in the air, pursing his lips. He makes a few speech-like noises with his empty mouth, groaning what sounds like, I don't know. I consider his offer. Ah, okay. That's fine. Adjustments? What kind of adjustments? He nods enthusiastically, but then apologetically points behind him at a small box filled with basic tools. He ain't that experienced, says his assistant. We do this and that, but only the simple things. So can you patch? He shakes his head and points at the uneven seams on his own tunic, then grabs a crude bone needle and shows you its broken head. He wouldn't even if he had the tools, but you can try in Hallersdale. Man, you guys are bad at this. Wow. So this inn isn't really an inn. It's more of a trade operation for furs and stuff. And hunters. They're all hunters, is basically what I'm getting at. This place feels weird. Learning the trade, maybe? Kind of, he answers reluctantly. But his teacher pats his knee, giving him a harsh look. The kid clears his throat. Yes, but we both ain't masters, you see. There's not a soul to teach us, so once I'm ready, I'll try hunting instead. Fixing things for others is boring. The man grunts a sound, though you don't understand it. Seeing your face, the boy chuckles. He said, safe. Let's meet in the middle. Boring, but safe. The man nods. Goodbye. I'm gonna go back to the inn. Not really. So what am I gonna do? Approach the guards again, maybe? At the well, the recently renovated wooden roof covers the well from rain and birds. One of the guards is enjoying the cold drink he drew with a bucket and tells you to use only as much water as necessary. I guess I'm gonna go to the inn and... oh, it won't let me wait. Okay, never mind. So, wait, I guess. I'm gonna wait until evening. It's getting late, better look for a safe place to sleep. Go to the inn. Sleep. Alright, so we got choices. Sleeping on a bench. Your blanket won't be much of a bed. The staff will keep opening the nearby door, walking around, or talking with one another. Sleeping here will be rather uncomfortable. Or, spend a gold coin sleeping in a room, a comfy bed with a clean blanket in an isolated chamber. You'll also get a large breakfast, a wash tub with water and soap, and some cloves to wash your teeth. I do think this will be better over here. And we do have some gold to spend on it, so why not? You hear a thunderous roar. You rise to your feet and rub the sleep from your eyes. The doors are opening, people are shouting orders and words of warning. As you open the window, you see what's behind the commotion. Something is on the other side of the wall, trying to get through, and the guards are fighting it off with their torches, spears, and crossbows. Thanks to their light, you see the large, furry paws placed on the top of the wall walk. As far as you can tell, the beast is but a single leap away from getting inside. It's not their first night. They know what they're doing. I need to help. You look for your gambeson and blade, still a bit foggy in your thoughts, and once you find them, you struggle to get inside the jacket. As your habits kick in, you see the innkeeper right in front of you holding a candle. You're a guest. Stay here, he says, without a shadow of hesitation. My team has no time to worry about outsiders. Just after his words, you hear cheerful laughter from the wall. Judging by the way they point their fingers and lower their weapons, the beast is fleeing. Well, I shouldn't expect people will need my help all the time. The small room is quiet and far away from unwanted eyes. You take a calm bath, rest on a soft mattress, look through the window, and enjoy the minutes of safety. In the morning, you find a stool with a large wooden plate, bearing an aromatic breakfast, a decent stew with white bread to dip. Downstairs, the innkeeper is putting firewood into the stove. He asks if you need anything. Let's see if there's any leftovers. No, not today, maybe tomorrow. Alright, that's all I need. I need to go. Time to travel. We're gonna go west. The road uphill meanders, slowing you down and forcing you to pay close attention not only to the shadows of the trees, but also the tight rocky passages. You can't help but notice a few caves and fine ambush spots. We're going to stop here for now. We will pick it up probably in another episode if you guys are still interested. This game doesn't feel like a game. This feels like D&D, and I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, I'll see you guys later. Goodbye!